This is Capital Logic. Today we are breaking down how Spotify disrupted the music industry without owning a single song. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us keep making these breakdowns. Let's get into it. Spotify, the world's largest music streaming service, became a multi-billion-dollar company by giving away music for free without owning a single song itself. It's a counterintuitive success story, isn't it? Stay until the end. I'll break down 3 lessons from Spotify's playbook you can apply to your business this week. If you want business breakdowns you can actually use, hit subscribe and the bell. The music industry was in crisis. The early 2000s were a wild west of digital music, dominated not by record labels or artists, but by pirate ships like Napster and Kazaa. Sales plummeted, artists struggled, and the industry was desperate for a lifeline. It was a broken system where convenience trumped legality and users simply took what they wanted. Into this chaos stepped 2 Swedish entrepreneurs, Daniel Ek and Martin Lorentzen. In 2006, from a small office in Stockholm, they founded Spotify with a radical, almost counterintuitive idea. To beat piracy, you had to be better than piracy. You couldn't legislate it away, Ek famously stated. Laws can definitely help, but it doesn't take away the problem. The only way to solve the problem was to create a service that was better than piracy and at the same time compensates the music industry. To that gave us Spotify. Think about that for a moment. The entire industry was focused on lawsuits, DRM, and trying to put the genie back in the bottle. Spotify's founders looked at the problem differently. They saw that people weren't inherently malicious. They just wanted easy, instant access to music. So, what if you could offer that same convenience legally and for free? It was an audacious vision, especially considering Spotify wouldn't own any of the music itself. Their entire business model hinged on convincing skeptical record labels, who had just spent years fighting digital distribution, to license their entire catalogs to a startup that wanted to give music away. This was a non-obvious approach, to say the least. After 2 years of intense negotiations, Spotify secured the necessary deals, arguing that streaming was the ultimate weapon against illegal downloading. In October 2008, Spotify officially launched, initially by invitation only, in select European countries like Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Spain. The concept was simple: a vast library of music, instantly accessible, with a free, ad-supported option. This wasn't just a new product, it was a psychological hack. It offered a legal, frictionless alternative that was so compelling, it made piracy feel inconvenient. Research later showed that after switching to streaming, users' music consumption increased by a staggering 49%, and the number of unique artists they listened to grew by 32%. This wasn't just about shifting consumption, it was about expanding it. The core of Spotify's disruptive strategy was its freemium business model. They offered a basic, ad-supported service for free and a premium, ad-free service with additional features for a subscription fee. This wasn't a free trial with an expiry date, it was a permanently free tier designed to hook users and demonstrate value. By March 2011, less than 3 years after its launch, Spotify had already amassed 1 million paying subscribers across Europe, doubling to 2 million by September of the same year. This rapid growth caught the attention of the world, especially the notoriously difficult US market. After years of negotiations, Spotify finally entered the crucial US market in July 2011. Just 1 month later, it had already captured 1.4% of the US music streaming market. The genius of their freemium model lay in what we call strategic friction. The free experience was intentionally limited but never broken. You'd get ads, you might have limited skips on mobile, and you couldn't download music for offline listening. These weren't deal breakers, but they were just enough to make the premium experience feel significantly better. It was a gentle nudge, not a hard sell. And it worked. Spotify's freemium model has achieved a remarkable 40% conversion rate from free to paid users. To put that in perspective, the industry average for freemium products typically hovers between 2 to 5%. This isn't just good, it's practically unheard of. By March 2013, Spotify had grown to 24 million active users, with an impressive 6 million of those being paying subscribers. As of Q1 2026, Spotify reported 761 million monthly active users, with 293 million premium subscribers globally. That's a massive, engaged audience, with a significant portion choosing to pay. This wasn't just about acquiring users, it was about retaining them. Spotify's churn rate is exceptionally low, estimated at 1.5% monthly. To give you context, Netflix's churn rate is around 1.8%, and the broader video streaming industry averages of 5.5%. This sticky user base is a testament to the value they provide, both free and paid. But attracting users and converting them was only part of the equation. To truly dominate, Spotify needed to make its service indispensable. Their secret weapon? Hyperpersonalization, driven by sophisticated AI and machine learning algorithms. You see, Spotify doesn't just play music, it learns you. It analyzes your listening history, your skips, your saves, even the audio characteristics of the songs you love. It then uses collaborative filtering to group you with other users who have similar tastes, recommending music you've never heard but are highly likely to enjoy. It's like having a million personal DJs, all working together to curate the perfect soundtrack for your life. They even employ natural language processing, or NLP, to analyze playlist names, song lyrics, and metadata. This allows the algorithm to understand the mood and context of music, suggesting tracks that fit a specific vibe, whether you're looking for chill study music or upbeat workout jams. The most iconic manifestation of this algorithmic prowess is Discover Weekly, launched in July 2015. This personalized playlist, along with Release Radar, now accounts for over 30% of total listening time on the platform. Think about that. Nearly a third of all listening is driven by an algorithm predicting what you'll love. The recommendation engine constantly evolves, using reinforcement learning to test and improve its suggestions based on your engagement. This isn't just a feature, it's a competitive moat. It creates an unparalleled user experience, fostering deep engagement and making Spotify incredibly difficult to leave. Once the algorithm truly understands your taste, the thought of starting over on another platform feels daunting. By 2024, Spotify's market capitalization surpassed $100 billion, a staggering 150% plus increase from its 2023 lows. This growth was fueled by profitable quarters and improved gross margins, demonstrating that their unconventional strategy was paying off. This wasn't just about music anymore. Spotify was expanding into audiobooks and video podcasts, and even facilitating over $1.5 billion in live event ticket sales by late 2025. But how did this massive, complex ecosystem actually pay the artists and rights holders who created the very content it thrived on? And what were the hidden mechanics behind those billions of streams? The vision was clear, but the path to execution was anything but. Spotify's journey wasn't just about building a great product. It was about convincing an entire industry, one scarred by piracy, to embrace a fundamentally new model. Imagine trying to sell ice to an Eskimo, or perhaps digital music to a record label still reeling for Napster. That was Daniel Ek's challenge. The music industry, burned by rampant piracy, was deeply skeptical of any free digital offering. They saw it as devaluing music, a threat to their very existence. Spotify, remember, didn't own any music. Its entire library depended on licensing deals with major record labels and independent distributors. Ek's counterintuitive argument was brilliant in its simplicity. You can't legislate away piracy. Laws can definitely help, he stated, but it doesn't take away the problem. The real solution, he believed, was to offer something better than piracy, more convenient, more reliable, and ultimately legal. This meant years of painstaking negotiations, convincing labels that a streaming service, even one with a free tier, was not a step backward, but the future. It was about shifting the psychology from ownership to access. This wasn't just a European problem. When Spotify finally set its sights on the lucrative US market, the negotiations intensified. It took years to secure those crucial licensing deals with American record labels. But the perseverance paid off. In July 2011, Spotify officially launched in the US, opening the floodgates to a massive new audience. The growth was immediate. Just 1 month after its US debut, Spotify had already captured 1.4% of the US music streaming market. By March 2013, the platform had soared to 24 million active users globally, with 6 million of those being paying subscribers. The freemium model was the Trojan horse. It hooked users with instant, legal access to millions of tracks, then subtly nudged them towards a premium experience. And it worked. Spotify has achieved a remarkable 40% conversion rate from free to paid users, an astonishing figure that significantly outperforms the industry average of 2 to 5% for freemium products. This success isn't accidental. It's attributed to what some call strategic friction. The free experience is intentionally limited. Think ads, no offline listening, less control but never broken. It's just good enough to keep you engaged, but imperfect enough to make that premium upgrade feel like a genuine relief, not a forced purchase. The royalty system itself, a pro rata model where artists are paid based on their share of total streams from a pooled revenue pot, became another cornerstone of its operation. Spotify retains approximately 30% of its revenue, with the remaining 70% going to rights holders. In 2025 alone, Spotify paid over $11 billion in royalties to the music industry, the largest annual payout from any single retailer in history. Cumulatively, that figure now stands at nearly $70 billion. What's perhaps most interesting is the shift in who benefits. Independent artists and labels received approximately 50% of Spotify's royalty payouts in 2025, a significant jump from about 30% in 2023, indicating a burgeoning middle class in the music industry. But Spotify didn't stop at music. Having conquered the initial resistance and built a loyal user base, the company began to look beyond its core offering. The strategy was clear: become the world's leading audio platform, not just music streaming. This meant a bold expansion into podcasts and other audio content, a move dubbed the audio-first strategy, officially announced in February 2019. Today, Spotify hosts over 100 million tracks and more than 7 million podcast titles. Podcasts now account for over 25% of total listening time on the platform, a testament to the success of this diversification. This wasn't just about adding content. It was about leveraging their core strength, hyper-personalization. Spotify's sophisticated AI and machine learning algorithms, which analyze everything from listening history to audio characteristics, were applied to podcasts, creating tailored recommendations that kept users glued to the platform. Natural language processing, or NLP, even analyzes playlist names and metadata to understand user mood and context, further refining suggestions. Personalized playlists like Discover Weekly, launched in July 2015, and Release Radar now account for over 30% of total listening time, profoundly shaping user habits and music trends. The recommendation engine constantly evolves, using reinforcement learning to test and improve suggestions based on user engagement. Because, for the algorithm, engagement metrics like save rate, completion rate, and playlist ads matter more than raw stream counts. This relentless focus on user experience and content expansion has solidified Spotify's market dominance. As of Q1 2026, Spotify reported a staggering 761 million monthly active users, MAU, a 12% increase year-over-year. Of these, 293 million are premium subscribers globally, marking a 9% increase year-over-year. The company maintains a leading global market share in music streaming, recorded at 31.7% as of Q1 2026, and an even stronger position in the US market with a 37% share. Financially, the strategy is bearing fruit. Spotify's total revenue reached 4.5 billion euros in the first quarter of 2026, with operating income of 715 million euros, up 40% year-over-year. The gross margin hit 33.1% in the fourth quarter of 2025, a record high, demonstrating improved profitability. Premium subscription revenue accounted for 15.35 billion euros in 2025, representing 89.3% of its total company revenue. Even with challenges in monetizing its free tier, ad-supported revenue declined 5% year-on-year to 385 million euros in the first quarter of 2026. Despite a 14% rise in ad-supported MAU, automated sales channels now represent over 30% of this revenue, indicating a path forward. Spotify's market capitalization surpassed $100 billion in 2024, a 150% plus increase from 2023 lows, driven by profitable quarters and improved gross margins. The company continues to diversify, expanding into audiobooks and video podcasts, and even facilitating over $1.5 billion in live event ticket sales by late 2025. What began as a radical idea to combat piracy has evolved into a comprehensive audio ecosystem, fundamentally changing how we consume sound. But what are the underlying principles that allowed Spotify to achieve this unprecedented level of disruption and dominance? Now here are 3 lessons from Spotify's playbook you can apply to your own business. Lesson 1. Disrupt with a superior alternative. Instead of fighting existing problems head-on, create a more convenient and appealing solution that makes the old way obsolete. Spotify didn't just digitize music, they made it instantly accessible, personalized, and legal, outcompeting piracy and traditional sales. Lesson 2. Master the freemium model. Offer a valuable free tier with strategic limitations